Well, hello all. Dizzy Dezatell here. Yesterday was Friday, and I happened to notice that on Craigslist there was an ad for cheap fire extinguishers in Modesto. So I called up the gentleman Eric, and I'm going to go there this morning with Sadie. He's actually in Oakdale, a little bit east of Modesto. We're going to head out there, see what kind of cheap extinguishers we can buy. He says he has a warehouse that he's got to clean out because his dad owned it, and they're going to close up the warehouse. Anyway, so thank you. See you down there. Oh, Dizzy Dezatell here. I forgot to mention, I'm going to put this screenshot up on the YouTube. That way everybody will be able to see it. So it'll be on there for about 15 seconds, and then we'll continue. Thank you. So here's Sadybug and I. We're driving out south on Highway 99, headed towards Modesto. Well, Sadybug, here we are. Wait for our buddy to arrive to allow us inside. All righty. I actually spent last night. Dizzy Dezatell here in Oakdale. I spent last night. And here is Eric's shop. It's his warehouse here in Oakdale. And I would call it the Fire Extinguisher Paradise. He placed an ad on Craigslist and said fire extinguishers for sale. And I had to come and check it out. And he's very gracious and told me I could film in here.
Yeah, knock yourself out, Dizzy. Pick anything you like.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. That ought to do it. All righty. Hello, everybody, again. Dizzy Dezatell here with Sadybug. We got back from Modesto this morning, and I bought a bunch of extinguishers. We'll look over those later. So, Sadybug, I'm going to put you down, sweetheart. There you go. All right, come in a little bit closer. Let's take a look at these array of general fire extinguishers that we have. A fallen flag general fire extinguishers. And you notice these old ones here have gauge guards. Okay. Gauge guards. Then this one here was in the transition period when they no longer did gauge guards. You see they have the area where they can screw the gauge guards into there with the bolts, but they didn't even tap those out, and they just left the gauge guard off. Then later, years later, they had a new valve assembly, no gauge guard and no abandoned gauge guard holes. So, and it has a Mylar label, which I don't care for very much. I like the metal labels. Anyway, I'm thinking that back in the day when these extinguishers had the large dial gauges, such as this. Come on in and get a close look at this gauge here. These were rather complicated. They had levers and there's gears in there. I don't know if you can see the gears. But anyway, they were rather fragile. Let me see if I can get this thing to move. Yeah, so it probably needed a little bit of protection. And then these, the newer models here, this is actually, these are spiral wound burden tube gauges. And you can see that's all it is. It's just a little copper tube in there that's kind of bent around. And it's rather heavy duty. I obviously cut off the plastic. Okay. All righty. Well, now we're going to take a look at some other extinguishers. Give me a minute to get these things reorganized. Thank you. Alrighty, here's the next set of extinguishers we can take a look at. Come on in and let's get a closer look here. I'm going to put you down, Sadie Buglet. There we are. Okay. Well, this is a beautiful 10-pound kitty. This was a, when Kitty made excellent units, you can tell that it has a brass valve, has a nice stainless steel gauge guard, stainless steel handles, steel cylinder, stainless steel label, and horn clip. Very nice unit. One thing rather interesting about it is they had these cams in here and an external spring. Kind of a hassle to recharge because if the little cam came off and you lost it, the extinguisher is useless. You'd have to go definitely get a new one. Then we have these 3 5-pound General CO2 extinguishers. This one was a military extinguisher. And if you notice down here, come in close and see this. It says, do not use except for fire. Well, my Uncle Wally was in the Marines in World War II, and he said that they used to use the CO2 extinguishers all the time to cool off their bottles of beer when they were off duty. And no, that's not a joke. Then if you take a look at this CO2 over here, you notice it has more of a teardrop cylinder as opposed to this more angular cylinder. This was the cylinder manufactured by General, and evidently they ran low on them and didn't have enough capacity, so they used to buy cylinders from Norris Industries. The Norris Industries also made Firefighter, and so you can tell a slightly different deviation on that tank. Alrighty, I'm going to get the next set of extinguishers ready to go, and we'll take a look at those next. Alrighty, Sadybug and I are going to show you these next sets of extinguishers that I have on display. Come on and get a closer look at them. There you go, Sadybug. Alrighty, well, these extinguishers are Firefighter. This was the kind of older style, and you can see that it has a very small pin, and a standard pin won't fit it. So if you lost this one, you'd have to order a new one from Firefighter because nobody else used pins this small. Similar to the Kitty unit, this also had an external spring with a little cam in there that you'd have to take off, and if you lost it, well, you'd be out of luck. The extinguisher wouldn't be useful until you had a replacement one. Then they went to another series. This was a later version, and it had did not have an external spring design. So if you take a look inside there, you'll see there's just a standard valve stem. Very much easier to service in the field. So the service technicians appreciated that. Then, I can't remember the exact date, but Firefighter went out of business, and then they sold the name to RC Industries, which made very cheap crap. This one said Firefighter on it, but it just wore out. I guess it was in the sunlight. This one you can still see it says Firefighter, and it's got a very cheap plastic valve. But I remember seeing the flyers when they developed them. It said Firefighter has been around for 100 years, and we're proud to have the name. Well, yeah, I wouldn't exactly be proud to have a unit like this come out of my factory. Alrighty, Sadybug and I are going to set up the next set of extinguishers, and we'll take a look at those. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, we've set up the last display of extinguishers. Here they are. Okay, Sadybug, you're going to get down on the floor. There you go. Alrighty. Well, let's see what we've got here. So we've got this Strike First 2.5-pound extinguisher. Here we've got the, this is a very unattractive Kitty extinguisher. We're going to do a deep dive on that at another video. This one was manufactured by the Badger Fire Extinguisher Company for Amway. See how it says Amway there on the label? Anyway, so that was an Amway unit. They did not make a whole lot of those. This old Pyrene, another division of Firefighter, that was built in 1965. Kind of a strange, handsome unit. Have to be careful so it doesn't fall over. You notice it doesn't actually have a flat bottom. It just has these 3 bumps. So, not super stable. And then there's this guy. We're going to do a deep dive on him in another video. Here's a cheap First Alert disposable Halon. Going to do a deep dive on that. And these are 2 American LaFrance. This one was manufactured by American LaFrance for Montgomery Ward's. It's a that was an old department store chain, kind of like Sears and the way Target is now. although Target would never have their own extinguisher label. But these were very cheap units. They had plastic valves. One service person that I knew in the 1980s in his shop, he said he hated these. He was pressurizing one and the whole valve blew out and hit him in the chest. He wasn't hurt, but he found it very annoying. And that was back in the 1980s, 40 years ago. Alrighty. Well, I think that's it for this. Next up, I'm going to take some of these out into the field and far away, because I don't want to make a mess of our yard, and I'm going to shoot them off in the middle of nowhere, and then they're going to be put in the recycling for metal recycling, and I'll take them to that place. The guy said as long as they're depressurized, he'll take them. Alrighty. Dizzy Dezatell out until I see you next time in the field. Alrighty. Well, Sadybug and I are here, and we're going to head out into the field and shoot off these extinguishers down here that I got from Modesto. And so we're going to take those out in the field in the middle of nowhere. They're all dry chemicals. First, we're going to take a quick look at these units here. Okay, so get down, Sadybug. There you go, sweetheart. All right. So anyway, I kind of like these old units. This little first alert job was built in 1995, and it's so cute. I'm going to keep it. It's still full, and so, but we're not going to shoot that one off. This one we will shoot off. You can see it's seen better days. The little nozzle actually broke off, but it says it's still full too, so we'll try it. This one here is another first alert small kitchen extinguisher. Same model as this, except it's just a different color. So this one says it's full. We're going to shoot this one off too. This one's a little bit unusual here. This one is actually made by Gillette. Captain Kelly by Gillette. Very strange. Strange unit. The little indicator is flat. Unit no longer works. No longer pressurized. And one final comment is back in the 1960s and 1970s, 5-pound extinguishers only had a fixed nozzle, which was fine, and then later in the 80s they went to a hose. Now, one thing that was kind of strange in the 1970s was this unit here. This was a 10-pound Amerex extinguisher, and as you can see, it came with a nozzle instead of a hose. Very few extinguishers were 10-pounders with just nozzles, but kind of funny little anachronism now. Anyway, we'll take this one out and we'll shoot it off. And so I think that's it. We will see you in the field. Thank you. Alrighty, Dizzy Dezatell here. We're going to do our field demonstration. I wanted to point out something about this 5-pound General here. This was new back in the 80s, and at the time I remember the technician saying these were really stupid because the rating was so high. It was the first time ever that a 5-pound extinguisher had a 40 BC rating, 3A 40 BC. And the only thing we could see that was different was that the hose was too long for the extinguisher. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so that's it. I'm going to get started now and put the camera on the tripod so my daughter won't get gassed by the powder all floating around. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, let's get going out in the field here. May as well take this American La France one first so it doesn't roll off and get damaged. Here we are. Let's see how she works. Well, very good. Not bad for 1986. That's the year I graduated from college. Alrighty. Here's the other one that might fall over. This one's Montgomery Ward's. The date on this one, 1976. That's the year I graduated from high school. Yes, it took me a while to finish college. Not bad, very impressive. Alrighty. Alright, I think we'll head out with this this baby kitty next. A 2002 model, kind of small, probably about 1 pound. Has not been recalled, even though it's a plastic valve, has not been recalled because it has this horizontal pin. If it's a vertical pin, then it's been recalled. Alrighty, there we are. Not bad, not bad. Next up, a little fire control disposable model. Nozzle broken off, but the little pin here says it still works. Date on this one, let's see, 1994. Alrighty, there we are. It's got a push button. That one worked all right. You notice the little push buttons on a spring went back into the valve, so you can tell it's no longer has any pressure. Okay, what have we got here now? Here's another disposable model. First Alert kitchen model. 1992. This was rather difficult to open, so they put a handle on the back and you can go like that and just rip it off. Okay, push button, says it's still full, so let's try it. Got this little pull pin. Well, as you can tell, I don't like dry chemical extinguishers really anymore, just because they make such a huge mess. Can you imagine if I tried this in my garage or my house? Oh, it'd be awful. Well, what have we got up next? How's about this Am God, which was specially made for Amway? It looks like it was made on the Badger fire extinguisher line. Let's see what year this one is. Well, I don't see anything offhand as far as the year goes. Oh, there we are, 1982. All righty. That was the actual the year I went back to college to get my degree. Pull the pin. Alrighty, that worked out nicely. And here we have a Strike First 2.5 pound extinguisher. Let's take a look at what year this is. Well, Dizzy doesn't see anything offhand. Let's see if there's on the bottom. Oh, 07, so 2007 is this year. There we are. Pull the pin. Alrighty, let's see how she goes. Very nice, cute little unit. Okay. Well, how about this 5 pound Amerex? See how this is the one without the hose. See if I can figure out what date this is. There it is. 7/77. So July 1977 was this unit. Looks like it's been out in the weather for a little bit of time. Got the pin pulled out here. There we are. Nothing much happening here. I wonder if it's corroded. There we are. Alrighty, that's it for the Amerex. There we are. Well, let's do this Strike First Corporation, a 5-pound ABC. Let's see if we can figure out what year it is. Well, I see nothing. There we are on the back. 16. It was made in 2016. Alrighty. Get the pin pulled. These safety firsts come with extra large pins. I don't know why, but they're very, very stout. Really wouldn't fit on any other extinguisher. Okay. There we are. Another success. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead with this 10-pound Amerex extinguisher. No hose. Has a Potter Romer sticker on it. That's what Amerex like to do. They their little name on it was very small, with the intention that they could sell it and people could put their own stickers on there, make it look like they were manufacturers. And so see how this one works out. See what year this one was. Let's see, there they are right there. Looks like August of 1977. Alrighty, got the pin pulled. There we are. Little awkward without having a hose. Well, that one worked. Yes, sir. Okay. There we are. And we got one. We got two more left. Let's go ahead with this 5-pound General with the extra long hose, which I never really cared for. Get the pin pulled. Alrighty. There we are. Well, guess that was fine. Nothing really unusual about this unit. I don't know why it had such a high rating. Still 195 PSI as normal for most extinguishers. And last but not least, here's our beautiful old Pyrene extinguisher. Got a gigantic gauge on it with the interior has the cams and gears and everything. Very handsome unit and kind of unusual bottom. The date on this, let me take a look. 1965, right there. 1965, nice unit. Alrighty. Get the pin pulled. Okay. Now if you notice, it never said that this had a pin on it. Somebody just added that pin. It had this little locking right here. This was locked by the bottom handle. So the seal was supposed to go around this little hole around here. And then when you pull the handle, then it's supposed to be able to operate. Now, typical as Firefighter and Pyrene, it did have the external spring with a little cam there holding it in place. If you were to lose that, good luck. You'd have to order another one. Hopefully you'd have one so you could get the extinguisher back in service. Well, let's get this little guy going. 5-pound pyrene. Alrighty, there we are. That's the end of that. Well, there's our extinguishers. We did our field tests. Success. Dizzy Dezatell out. Thank you for watching. Oh, then I forgot to mention, thank you, Eric, for supplying all these wonderful extinguishers from Modesto. And I did take a picture of Eric, and yes, he did give me permission to use his image on the video. So, Eric, thank you again, brother. God bless you. Well, here we are out in the middle of nowhere. Going to say goodbye to our test site. All the extinguishers and the pins and seals have been all picked up. Can't do much about all this powder, though. What a mess. Well, if any of you want to be using dry chemical in your kitchen or your garage, go right ahead. Have at it. But I would suggest getting a CO2 or a halon extinguisher. Of course, a little powder is certainly better than burning your house down, but it's up to you. Well, hello all again. Dizzy Dezatell here with Sadybug. One last clip. These CO2s all need to go out for hydro testing, and so I'm going to shoot them off here in the garage. I'm going to lose my cameraman, my camera daughter. She doesn't like the noise, and she's afraid of being asphyxiated. So I'm going to set up the camera on the tripod. Thank you. See you shortly. Alrighty. Dizzy has the tripod set up. Sadybug is inside the house where she wants to be. Alrighty, I believe this one's got not too much CO2 in it. This is the military CO2. If you notice, it has a locking cam on it, which you're supposed to use when you're in the military, like on ships when they have compartments. You're supposed to pull the pin, lock this down, discharging, throw it inside whatever's on fire, and then close the door. And it's supposed to be airtight, and you keep doing that. You have a line of extinguishers that keep coming in and getting thrown in there, operating until they just discharge themselves out. All right, let's get this thing going, see how it does. Well, it's completely empty. How's that? All righty. Put that one down. See how these are. These two feel like they might be full. There's the one with the North cylinder on it. You can tell it's a teardrop. Here we go. Rather loud. I say, yes, that is rather loud. Okay, one more. This one feels full. Alrighty, well that'll do it. Dizzy Dezatell does love his CO2 extinguishers. Clean, not a mess. And I'm not asphyxiated, so there we are. Dizzy Dezatell out.